MGF Customs and Reviews.
What's going on, guys? This is Michael MGF. Today we're doing another custom LEGO minifigure showcase video. This time I have Shae Vizla from the Old Republic, and this character was awesome in the cinematic that was released back in 2009. Link to it in the description below if you are not familiar with it, because it was definitely a great Star Wars trailer. I mean, just probably one of the best, if not the best, Star Wars cinematic that we've ever gotten for a video game. But this character, the only reason I made Shae Vizla here is because Aerialite just recently released a whole new lineup of helmets and jetpacks, and one of those helmets and jetpacks being Shae Vizla's helmet and jetpack. And I don't know how many times I said helmet and jetpack, but the accessories are very paint friendly, so I figured why not take a go at making her, and it turned out great. And also some little detail that I'd like to point out is I did finally utilize one of Aerialite's curved torsos, because I know my figures have been sorely lacking those recently, all my female characters, so I'm glad that I do have a decent stock of them now, so I won't be running out of them. You know, you'll see them more frequently on my female figures from this point on. So that's good, and the only reason I'm not actually going to be showcasing these Sith Troopers back here, the only reason I put them here, these two guys here, is because honestly Shae Vizla looked really lonely in the shot without them, so I figured I'd just throw them back there. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this figure in the 360 view. So here she is, Shae Vizla, the awesome bounty hunter from the Old Republic, and you can see this figure turned out really great. I'm so glad Aerialite released the helmet and jetpack, because obviously I would have never made this figure without him. So once again, link to his shop will be in the description box below. I've never said description box, I always say description. But anyway, you can see the torso. We'll start off with that. Looks phenomenal, and based on the reference pictures I was using, it is very accurate and looks great. And then you can see the pouches on the sides of what, I don't really know what you would call this, but it's kind of like a lit up blue type of square. It might be like a control panel for her utility belt. I don't actually know, but either way, I did paint it on and it definitely looks great. And all the different blues that are on this figure really add, you know, just really kind of salute all the different wide varieties of colors that this character has on her suit. And you can see her wrists utilize the Brickforge gray van braces, and obviously I trimmed them a little bit because, you know, if they were any longer, it would be pretty evasive on the overall concept of the figure. And you can see the gold markings that I have on them are supposed to represent the flamethrowers that she utilizes quite a bit in the Old Republic Deceived trailer. And then you can see her legs also look very nice. And they also do sport a nice variety of color, and that color being gold, red, silver. It just looks really nice, and it is as accurate as I could get it. And you can see, of course, just like all my figures, the legs are completely posable. I've never had an instance where they weren't. Obviously, maybe in like the early days, but you can see her pistol, which something I didn't bring up is that her pistol does have a nice set of blue markings all over it, and those are supposed to represent these kind of like lit up sections on her pistol that are just, I mean, there's really no describing them. You know, it's just how her pistol is. She has some lit up sections on it, and I painted those on. So that's pretty cool. And I also did paint on some silver rims right on the bottom of the pistol there. So that's just a little detail that I figured I'd point out, because it is definitely pretty cool. And then you can see the back of the legs. Not much detail going on here, because really there isn't a lot on the back of her legs, so there isn't a lot on the actual character. I can't do much to the Lego figure. But then you can see, I mean, either way, it still looks great. But you can see the shoulder pads on both arms look very nice, and the shaping of them is totally accurate. And you can see I did include the points that come down off of this shoulder pad, and those look great. And then you can see here's the other arm, and this arm sports kind of like a black strip with its own share of detail on it, so that is pretty cool. And there are actually two little blue dots right there. If you couldn't see, they're right there. Those are just two little things I added to just add that much more level of detail to the figure, and so much detail that it's beginning to be unnoticeable. But then you can see the helmet is definitely the center of attention here, because the helmet it's just really cool with the orangey gold visor that is kind of like the same color of a Halo Spartan helmet. And you can see the blue on the side of the helmet, honestly, in my opinion, defines the figure, because the blue adds a lot of depth to the helmet for some reason, and without those blue markings, I don't really think this figure would be as appealing. So I'm definitely glad that they turned out looking awesome. And you can see she does have those signature red designs all over the helmet on the top there, and then those do continue all the way around the back, and then you can see some spikes right there. The back of the helmet there, this is actually based off of the Aerolite, or not the Aerolite, the Hasbro figure, and Hasbro's figures have been getting worse and worse and worse. And if you guys didn't know, I'm an action figure collector off to the side, so I'd be able to tell you that. So I'm not really sure if basing the back of her helmet off of a Hasbro figure was wise, but it was the only thing available that I could find of the back of her helmet. And then you can see right here on her antenna, that is not like stuck in like a rangefinder. That is in fact, that is actually part of the helmet. It's part of the mold, and honestly, it was a little bit unfortunate how right here there's a little painted, there's a little section I painted black, and the reason I did so is because it's not actually supposed to be there, and I didn't want to cut it out because I'm not sure what would have happened if I did. It might have made the antenna a lot more like vulnerable to breaking, so I didn't actually cut it out. Instead, I just painted it black because honestly, like I said, this little section is not supposed to be there, but that's okay because it's still an amazing helmet overall, and I'm definitely happy with the way this figure turned out. And there is nothing on the back of the torso because obviously it is completely covered by the jetpack, so that is kind of like cheaping out the way Lego does it, but it doesn't matter because it still looks like a great figure, and you're supposed to keep the jetpack on anyway. But then you can see if we go ahead and remove her helmet, she does have that basic female head that we've been seeing a lot on my costumes recently, but I mean, it's a great head, and it looks a lot like the characters I've been making, so why not use it to its fullest extent? And you can see I did actually paint the neck on her helmet, or on her head here, black, and of course she still has the opposite face. But yeah, so there is Shae Vizla, the one bounty hunter that I never saw myself making.
Ancestor. Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor. Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Alright, before I let you guys go, there are some things I want to bring up, and one of them being I will be at Star Wars Weekends again. I was there for the first weekend, I skipped out on the second, but I will be there on the third weekend for this Saturday only, from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you can catch me at Disney's Hollywood Studios here in Florida at any, between that time, be sure to say hello, because I will be there, and it's going to be a lot of hectic Star Wars awesomeness, but that's how Star Wars Weekends always is, especially if you're only going for one day per weekend like I am. But anyway, did you guys see the Yoda Chronicles? That just premiered tonight, and definitely looks like it'll be a great little series. I'm looking forward to it, to the rest of it. I mean, obviously it's totally off canon with Star Wars. It's totally wrong in a lot of ways and very stupid, but I mean the figures that were put into sets like Jack 14, he's a really cool character, and I just definitely look forward to seeing him more and more. But I mean, these characters are totally made up by Lego, so I can't really say that I like them that much, but I mean, they're cool. But then I know a lot of you are unfamiliar with the Old Republic. I wouldn't say a lot of you, but some of you. And to those of you who are, I do appreciate you sticking through the video, as I know this figure might have been a little bit foreign to you, but because you stuck around, I'm going to go ahead and give you a look at some Clone Wars figures that I am indeed working on. And here is a look at what those will be. And that's all you're getting. That was pretty good as it was, but yeah, so I think this is probably going to be the last Old Republic figure you see from me for a while. This is just something I kind of wanted to get off my chest because, I saw that Aerolite had made some pretty awesome accessories for this character, so I mean, I couldn't resist and I went ahead and made her. But other than that, that's about it, and I'll see you guys later. Alright.
Bye.
This is Shae Vizla from the Old Republic, but before I continue, I have 111 LEGO Reviews 111 and Pexis Films here. Say hello.
Hello. Hello.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Times way long before anything that you guys might be familiar with, but if you are familiar with it, okay, I'm totally going on here. Nearby that in the timeline of bullshit.